You did, and they recorded it.
I'm having trouble with their sound.
Have any
No.
The Father, Son, and Mother of all the universe is power, presence, and knowledge for which we all do search. Through the mind, through the body, shining right down through the soul. The Spirit is there within us. It tries to make us whole. However long it takes me, wherever I may go, I must become the master of my body, my mind, and soul. All the persons, all the places, all the things that I might see, the Spirit is there within me, yearning to be free. All time is now, all space is here, all life is endless, all love is near, all minds relate, all souls evolve, all forms are changing, and all thoughts resolve, all words take shape, and all will directs, all deeds are binding, and all faith protects, all ears are deaf, and all eyes are blind, all things are spirit, and all is in mind. All is in mind. Spirit, all is in mind.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a powerful expression of unity thought. I'd love to know more about where that song came from. That was extraordinary. Thank you so much. Well, we also begin sort of ritualistically each Sunday with our welcome and purpose statement. Particularly for those who are brand new to Unity, this will be an important moment for you. What we always say is that unity is a positive, practical approach for spiritual living based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer. We believe that there is truth and beauty in every spiritual tradition. We honor the many paths to the one God. And so wherever you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcome here. The Unity Church is always open and welcome to you. The Unity community is yours. So our purpose, particularly here at Unity on the North Shore, is to create a safe space where people are empowered to take risks and live their deepest truth. I'll just add, joyfully. If this is your first Sunday, we extend a loving welcome. And we'll acknowledge that many of us, myself included, were surprised when we found Unity to learn that there was a spiritual community that thought and felt the way that we did. And it felt like coming home. It felt like, yeah, this is my place. And we hope that your experience here is equally powerful and that you will return. Now, please stand for our group song.
To God, beautiful sight. Connected to God, connected to God. I'm connected to God. I'm connected to God. We're connected to God.
Thank you, Bruce and Danny. I'm Martin Taylor, and I'm going to be your chaplain for today. First, let us start by reading the daily word. And the daily word for today is energetic. The limitless energy of spirit flows through me. I smile as I watch children at play. Their boundless energy seems so natural, so effortless. When I want to reclaim this same zeal and enthusiasm for myself, I remember these divine gifts are already within me. Centered in this awareness, I feel relieved, renewed in vitality. As I take care of my family, move through my workday, enjoy time with dear ones, or volunteer in my community, I engage it all with enthusiasm and feel my energy build. If I feel my enthusiasm faltering, I don't despair. Instead, I pause for a moment to feel the quickening energy of spirit, the divine life and strength that are flowing through me. As I am revitalized, the world feels new. I shimmer with energy and go about doing all I feel called to do. And the scripture, may you be made strong with all the strength that comes from the glorious power. Colossians 31. And now, as we continue to focus on prayer, let's close our eyes, take a moment to separate ourselves from what's going on around us as we breathe in, breathing in God's light, breathing in God's love, breathing in God's air. And let us recognize that we are now in a sacred space. And as we release the air, spend a moment in that heart space in prayer for yourselves, for your loved ones, and for all who we are concerned with right now. Dear Holy Spirit, we are grateful at this moment for all your blessings showered on us. And in this cold time of year, we are grateful for your gifts of warmth, of food, of shelter. And we affirm that your presence, your love, grace, and guidance are in every person and in every human condition, wherever it happens. And so it is. Amen. And now we return to more music from our brilliant musicians.
I wish that I knew how it feels to be free. I wish remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree how it would feel to be free. Come on. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live, you know, the way I wanna live. I wish I could do all the things that I could do. Though I'm way, way overdue, you know that this man be starting anew. One more time, y'all. I wish I could be like a bird up in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found out I could fly. Oh, and soar to the sun and look down, down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know that I'd sing, 'cause I know, you know that I'd sing, 'cause I know I'd take my wings, 'cause I know that I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free.
Wow. All right, well, we certainly got a taste of what it feels like to be free, I would say. Do I need to do something? No more clicking? Okay. Good, good, good. Wow, that's just the energy you guys generate, right? The electrical systems can't. Some mornings I sit down there in that front row and I am almost brought to tears by the beauty of this community. I mean, Bruce up in his blue suit singing. All right, there we go. Calm all that energy down. So I was saying, there's some Sundays I sit up here in the front row and I am almost brought to tears by the beauty of this community, you know, like Bruce in his blue suit and Danny in his Portillo hat, and we've got a platform assistant who speaks with her Australian accent and then a British accent from her. There's just this beautiful kind of panorama of humanity, and it's all so brilliant. I'm just humbled to serve this ministry in this community. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And boy, that first song, Bruce, like that's my sermon, and you've done it more poetically than I'm ever going to be able to. If you were here last week, you know that we began a series that we're calling Many Paths, One Source. And it's really an exploration of some different cultural faith, different faith communities, different religious belief systems. And so once each month, it'll be the second Sunday now through June, there will be a guest speaker who will sort of tell us about that particular faith. Last week, Subala Das was here and spoke to us about Hinduism. And I was struck at how eloquently he spoke about just foundational beliefs, like just the sort of broad strokes of what it is to live out that Hindu faith and what that looked like. And so many of you really expressed really deep appreciation for that teaching and that understanding. And I realized as I thought back through my own talks over the last forever, that I pretty much presume that everyone who's sitting here already knows those foundations about unity. When I'm speaking, usually I'll talk about, there's this thing going on in the world or in our lives or in our community, and here's a spiritual perspective, and here are some practices we might bring to be able to fully express our divine selves. But it's been a while since I've really sort of dived into kind of the fundamental basic understandings that unity believes and teaches. So I thought I'd take some time to do that this morning, and that's what Bruce's song did so beautifully, like everything from what is unity to sort of what we believe about God and about mankind and how we relate to all that. So that's kind of where I'm headed this morning. And I'm going to be using really through the lens largely of Eric Butterworth, who's a really phenomenal teacher, minister, writer. He's passed now, but I've been revisiting some of his seminal works. This one, Unity, A Quest for Truth, for a long time was like what new members would be asked to study and read as we were sort of getting immersed in unity teachings. And I came across a quote that really helped me kind of feel better about where we are these days. We've been working in the board, we've been working very much about, in terms of strategies and initiatives that we might bring forth over the next couple of years, because we'd love to see this community grow as we sort of move through the craziness of these pandemic years and start to redefine what it is to come together in community, how to really support one another in a way that just isn't available online. There are ways in which we're gathering differently now in new ways. And so in the board, we've been thinking about what does all that look like? How are we going to bring that forward? And we got a beautiful opportunity to kind of experiment with some of those ideas we had at our New Year's Eve service a couple weeks ago. We brought together a bunch of communities. We had some partners, and so there were folks who had not been familiar with unity before. And so those of us who were here from the church encountered, we got engaged in a couple of conversations to describe what unity is. And in the debrief afterward, we're like, well, we didn't really have a great answer for that. Certainly it's, what Alyssa just described. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer. That's one that we use to describe kind of what we do each Sunday here. And more specifically at Unity on the North Shore, we're about equipping and empowering one another to take risks and live our deepest truths. That's about sort of living into the fullness of our potential and not being limited by fears or reservations that we might be. So those are kind of wonderful descriptions, but they don't really capture what is unity. And so as I was going back through Eric Butterworth's work, I found a little bit of solace in this quote. He says, unity today is dedicated to the open mind, to the continuous quest for truth. It seeks not to tell you what to think, how to define God, what creeds to accept. Unity seeks only to teach you how to think, how to pray, so that you can formulate your own definition of God, experience your own communion with God, and find your own distinctly personal revelation of truth. Right? That's not an easy marketing sell. We're so used to in this day and age, we're so used to like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I went to Costco and we picked up some meals that you stick it in the microwave and throw it in a bowl and it's done. Like, we kind of want our spirituality to be served up in that way. And what unity is about is really asking you to do this work ourselves. And it's not like we're ever going to get there. It's like the objective is that we're constantly learning and growing and evolving into a deeper embodiment of the incredible power that we believe is the very essence of all things. That's kind of how. So he just said, we don't define God. I'm gonna be so audacious as to define God for you now, or at least what my current understanding of God would be, because I think that's really important to how we can begin to move through or move into a receptiveness to doing the deeper work on our own, and not just being handed it to us on a steaming hot platter that's delicious. So unity is really. My concept of unity's belief in God is that it's really about this presence, this infinite power, In ministerial school, we learned that it was omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence, right? These three big, like all that is. There is in the Sunday schools for a children's church, we used to say, there is no spot where God is not, right? That's sort of the simplistic way of really describing this entity that really is the source and the creator and the sustainer of all that is, all that is from the fingerprint of a tiny infant that is just born to the far edges of the galaxy, right? All that is God. All that is God. And to be able to sort of understand that at a level where it becomes evident that we too are included in that allness, and that like as Bruce was singing about just the unity of all things, to know that we too are a part of that. Here's another Butterworth quote that I want to sort of have us think about. He says, we could say God is mind, God is life, God is substance, but whatever we agree God is you. This may seem shocking to you, to think of yourself as God. But we did not say you are God. We said God is you. All ice is water, but not all water is ice. Whatever your life is, it is God. The life in you is God life. The wisdom is you in God intelligent. The love in you is God love. So like to move into an understanding that from the allness of the very source that is the creation of all that is, to know that we too are a part of that all that isness, that's big. That's not going to be something we're going to be able to really convey very clearly on an Instagram post. So what I would invite us into is maybe a deeper conversation or a deeper exploration about what it means to really know that God is as me. God, we sing it every Sunday, right? The last line of our prayer protection is the light of God, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Wherever we are, God is, and we are in that all is. We cannot be separate from it. And the difficulty, I don't even call it a difficulty, the challenge for us to continue in this evolving consciousness is to be aware that any time that we're not sort of present to the oneness that really allows us to transcend whatever difficult challenges we might be having, or allows us to accept and be grateful that the stuff occurring in our lives is all a part of the same oneness. Whatever gets in the way of that sense of unity, I'm saying unity in a small u in that regard, that sense of unity, whatever gets in the way is something that is changeable within our own consciousness. One of the challenges that I've had as we move kind of into this kind of conversation or discussion around how much consciousness is really involved in our capacity to express that divinity, to experience it, is that I think there is a tendency to let the limited self of us project into those circumstances, right? So if I'm experiencing some kind of challenge in my life, if my bank account's running low, if I'm feeling ill, if I'm in a relationship that's going badly, if I'm obsessed with news headlines about wars going on around the planet, right? If I'm all caught up in that kind of stuff, then in Unity's sort of understanding, there is something in my consciousness that here's where the difficulty is, or here's the distinction that I want to make. There's something in my consciousness that certainly is resonant with whatever the vibration of that circumstance is, but I want to be sure that we're clear that it's not necessarily causative, right? So that what we're holding in consciousness is not necessarily causing what's out picturing in our lives. Because we're out there sort of co-creating our life experience with 8 billion other people on the planet. They've all got their own agendas going. We're out there co-creating. So there's lots more in terms of the causation of the troubling stuff that might be happening in our world and in our lives that we don't necessarily need to take responsibility for. And I do believe that there is also something within our own thinking and believing or praying that has us sort of in some ways aligned or attracted to those circumstances that are making it a problem for us. Does that make sense? I'm seeing no nods. So let me see if I can elaborate a little bit. So what I would say is that, okay, here's the example Butterworth uses. So when we're stuck in those situations where we're not experiencing the fullness of our divinity, when we're not really sensing that connectedness that we have to all that is, when we're stuck with that, it's as though the thinking or believing or the processes that we have in mind have clouded our capacity to see the light that God really is. He describes it as imagining clouds in the sky, right? Imagine that that it's completely shaded over. We have a lot of days like that actually in this part of the world, where it's cloudy, it's sort of grim, and we're just waiting for the sun to break through. And what Butterworth would say is the sun never breaks through. The sun is doing what the sun does always. The sun can never do any more than it is. The sun is there. The light is always there. What happens is that the clouds begin to disperse, and then the sun shines through, which is what the sun does. It's kind of the same. That's kind of how God works in its expression as us. Right? God is doing everything that God can possibly do right now in every moment, in every circumstance. And if we're not fully experiencing it or embodying it, it's as though there are these clouds of our own limited understanding, or these clouds of our own fearful thinking, or these clouds of our own confusion that are getting in the way of that. And so it's really just a matter of allowing the clouds to part. And see, I also like that as an analogy, right? It's allowing the clouds to part. It's not, we got to do something to break those clouds up, That's, again, projecting out that there's something beyond us that we have to get hold of. We have to bring into ourselves in order to bring it into expression. Sometimes when we're thinking about developing consciousness, when you think about that word developing consciousness, we think of developing as like, we got to generate it, we got to create it, we got to go out and get it. But if you think of developing as opposed to enveloping, the word enveloping means to kind of surround, it means to kind of enfold, it means to kind of embrace. Developing is about releasing, it's about allowing, it's about developing a capacity to receive, right? It's not about going out and getting something. It's letting what is already there emerge. That's how we disperse the cloudy thinking that we have, as we become centered and grounded to the truth and the power that is truly present within each and every one of us all the time. And allowing that to sort of rise up, and the clouds and the clarity will then, or the clouds will depart so that the clarity and the sun can shine through. So often I think we get maybe obsessed with the idea of we can do this better. I know I can do this better. There's a better way for me. I got to work harder at this. There's another book I got to read. There's where we're striving after it so hard that still small voice that assures us that the Father and I are one, that divinity is always present, sort of gets drowned out. So here's another quote I wanted to share from Butterworth that speaks to this kind of the innateness of this connected to God that we spoke about just a minute ago. He wrote, "Wherever spirit is at all, the whole of spirit must be. And because spirit is omnipresent, the whole of spirit must be present in its entirety at every point in space at the same time." So that means it must be present in its entirety within you, right where you are. So unity's sort of concept of God is this all-encompassing kind of isness. And all of the practices that we develop, all the ways in which we seek to pray and align ourselves are really developed as a way to embody the fullness of that oneness, that unity of spirit. Let's see. So I think, as I mentioned, Sabala last week, not only did he speak to sort of the conceptual framework of Hinduism, which I've tried to do just now, sort of the intellectual, conceptual framework that we believe about God and about humankind and about this intense interrelatedness of the two of those. Sabala then led us into this really beautiful mantra. We did a sort of Hare Krishna chant that was an experience of that. So I'd sort of like to use our meditation time now to maybe emulate the experience of that oneness, or at least to invite us into an experience of that oneness. So yeah, I think that's what I'll say in order to set us up.
My soul, I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment, here to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
And so into this state of readiness, I invite you to just breathe deeply. It's when we take time apart and a time of quiet reflection that we can become most present to the unity of all that is. When we become most aware of our own oneness with this incredible presence and power that creates and sustains everything that is, everywhere at all times. It's in these times of quiet reflection with Spirit that we can know the truth of our humanity. Of knowing that God is as I am. So as I share with you now a series of affirmations that really seek to express this divinity of human beingness, I invite you to hold each statement lightly. And to let go of any kind of figuring out, intellectualizing, trying to make sense of. And just allow the truth of the statement to sort of well up. Maybe as a feeling, maybe as an awareness. To just accept whatever response arises from within you as a perfect expression of the divine that is you. This is a prayer titled, God is. God is in my head and in my understanding. God is in my eyes and in my looking. God is in my mouth and in my speaking. God is in my tongue and in my testing. God is in my lips and in my greeting. God is in my nose and in my scenting. God is in my ears and in my hearing. God is in my neck and in my humbling. God is in my shoulders and in my bearing. God is in my back and in my standing. God is in my arms and in my reaching. God is in my hands and in my working. God is in my legs and in my walking. God is in my feet and in my grounding. God is in my joints and in my relating. God is in my guts and in my feeling. God is in my bowels and in my forgiving. God is in my loins and in my swiving. God is in my lungs and in my breathing. God is in my heart and in my loving. God is in my skin and in my touching. God is in my flesh and in my yearning.
Scientific statement of being
God
from
is
the
in my
Christian
bones
Science text.
and in my dying.
There is no
Truth,
God is in my
intelligence,
beginning
no substance in matter.
and at my beginning.
All is infinite mind
God
and its
is
infinite
as
manifestation.
I am.
For God is all in all. Spirit is immortal truth. Matter is mortal error. Spirit is the real and eternal. Matter is unreal and temporal. Spirit is God, and man
very
is
gently
his
now,
image
as we bring
and
this time
likeness.
of
Therefore, man
reflective
is not
meditation to a
material,
close,
he is spiritual.
I invite you to
Scroll
breathe in
to
deeply
scripture
and
for-
just scan your body. Notice if there's a sense of revitalization or vibrancy, a sense of peace or calmness. And know truly that now, here, all places and all ways, God is as you are. So it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
My soul, I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving
Thank you so much. It took me a minute to get up here because I forgot that I had a role to play. I was so deeply relaxed and present. I went, oh, that would be me. Okay. So now is the time that we turn gently to our love offering. And the offerings that you give are part of what sustains this community, and they're received so gratefully. There are 3 simple ways to give that you will see on the screen. You can text, you can use the donate button on our website, or you can send checks through the mail. That still works. And for those of you who are here in the room, you can provide cash or checks in the bowl near the doors that you entered through. So now let's begin our blessing, our giving and our receiving. And if you're not actually giving in this exact moment, you can set your intention to give and you can reflect on that intention to give. And we will speak aloud our offertory blessing. So with joy and gratitude, we affirm, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. Please stand as we embrace our prosperity and sing our offertory song. Thank you so much to our musicians. What a wonderful contribution. Thank you so much. And thank you to our live stream team who makes this so possible for people to continue to meet with us and be present with us from a distance. It really makes a difference. And for everyone here, your presence has blessed us today here in the sanctuary. A couple of announcements. One is about this ongoing series that Reverend Kurt mentioned, The Many Paths, One Source. And as he discussed in the lesson today, last week we welcomed Subala Dasa, who is our first speaker in a series. And we'll be studying many of the world's major religions. Each month there'll be a different speaker. So we have a lot more planned in the series, including the guests and trips to visit their houses of worship. So please make sure that you visit the page on the website. All the details are there, and then an opportunity for you to become more involved in that journey of Many Paths, One Source. And Mike Nash has an announcement for us as well.
Thank you, Alyssa. Good morning. Throughout the scriptures, New Testament, the Gospels, and many of the letters, the topic of service is discussed. Service to ourselves, service to others, and service to our community. And how that service is it's so important to our spiritual growth. So the reason I mentioned that this morning is I am on the nominating committee for our board of directors, and we are looking for people to serve in that role this year. I apologize, we kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. We should have done this months ago, or at least several weeks ago, but our annual meeting is in a couple of weeks. And we need people to serve. I believe there's 3 openings on the board this year. And it's important. Board service is important. Everything we do here, all the volunteers, everything is really important. And board service has its role as well. I've served on the board at Unity of Chicago and at Unity of Oak Park, and it can be very rewarding. It can be challenging, but it can be very rewarding as well. And I wanted to say that the board, we often hear the board does the business of the church, but it's so much more than that. It is the board, yes, they're responsible for the budget and taking care of the money, and they're responsible for maintaining our not-for-profit status and things like that. But they're also, what I found, and I think is probably the most important thing, is they're important for maintaining using our mission and our vision as the driving force as we move forward, because that's what defines us as a community. And so serving on the board is really important, necessary work. And so I ask if you have been thinking about serving on the board, if you've thought about it in the past. If you haven't been thinking about it, I ask you to prayerfully think about it. And you can see me after the service. You can see Reverend Kurt said he would be available. Alyssa's on the board. Kathy's on the board. I think Jan's here. She's on the board. You can talk to any one of them as well, and they'll be glad to kind of talk to you about the service and what's required and how they see it as well. So that's it. You can see me after the service. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mike. And I will just affirm that I have experienced some of the most joyful, beautiful relationships emerging from my service on the board. So it's not just about giving, it's about receiving so much. And I'm very thankful for that opportunity. If you're not ready to serve on the board, there are other ways to give to Unity on the North Shore. Jasmine is looking to build up our hospitality team with some additional greeters, as well as coordinators for the monthly potlucks that we're doing. I think those have been very popular. I loved seeing the Thanksgiving table that we managed to put together. It's a beautiful expression of one of the things that's core to our identity as Unity on the North Shore, and it takes many hands. So if that's more your style, please see Jasmine or email her at jasmine@unityns.org. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Let's stand and we will sing our peace song together, followed by our prayer for protection.
And now please join me in the prayer of protection. The words are on the screen. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Thank you for coming. Enjoy a cold Sunday.